To the untrained eye, this Connect 4 position might look unassuming. This one, you might not even be able to tell who's winning. But an expert could tell you, all of these positions share a special property. One which is actually quite extraordinary. One feature of all of these positions is that the amount of space remaining in each column is even. This column has 6 empty spots. This column has 4. This is true for all of the games I've shown. Not a single column with an odd number of pieces. What's more, in each of these cases, it so happens that yellow, player 2, is winning. It might not look like it, but yellow is winning so spectacularly in these games that even a fool could beat an expert, as long as that fool knows what makes these positions special. Remember how all of the empty space is even? That means that we can cut up those remaining columns into groups of 2. Now, since it's red's turn in all of these cases, let's let red start by making a move. When drawn like this, yellow is almost beckoned to fill in the uncoupled pair. And since the entire board is divided up into pairs, yellow can just keep doing this forever. Wherever red goes, yellow fills in the unpaired spot. We can even take away the pairings. All yellow is doing is responding, thoughtlessly, to red's last move. A randomly placed red stone is followed by a yellow stone immediately above. So on, and so forth. Wait a minute, did yellow just win? Let's try again with a different board which we saw at the beginning. Remember, nothing fancy. Red initiates, then yellow naively responds. On and on until the end of the game. Like magic, yellow has won again. Now, I promised you those boards at the beginning had something magical about them. Does the columns having an even amount of empty space necessitate this winning condition for yellow? Yellow is winning in this position, and it also has all even columns. However, it is not one of the special ones I showed before. Let's try our strategy here. Just like before, red, then yellow. But with this last red move, yellow is starting to panic. If yellow continues our simple strategy, red will immediately win. So, yellow, in a last-ditch effort, breaks our strategy. Perhaps, by making some threats on the right side, yellow can regain the tempo. Unfortunately for yellow, the damage is already done. Red immediately plays in the second column. Yellow is forced to block the horizontal threat, but red wins on a diagonal anyways. So, our naive just follow red strategy didn't work in this case. Despite the fact that yellow is winning, and all of the columns are even. Indeed, it is the case that the 4 boards at the beginning weren't just any boards with all even columns. They were especially selected as boards which can be won with our simple follow red strategy. If yellow could always win by just playing call and response, that wouldn't be much fun, would it? So, what is it about these positions which makes them special? When we play our naive strategy, let's take note of what happens. Let's mark all of the discs already played before we start. Regardless of what red chooses, after the point where we start to use our strategy, all of the red discs end up on an odd row. That is, the first, third, and fifth rows from the bottom. Similarly, yellow inevitably gets all of the even rows. Since yellow is the one employing this strategy, let's call it Claimeven. Yellow, by merely following red, can get a hold of all of the remaining even row spaces. What makes this board special is that even when we fill in all of the red pieces on the odd rows, no line of 4 discs is made. However, yellow is able to lay claim to the entire top row. So, it doesn't matter the order which red plays. The result is already guaranteed for yellow, as long as yellow plays Claimeven. Well, what about this slightly different board? It was another one of the 4 at the beginning, so it also wins by Claimeven. If we imagine all of the red stones filling in the odd rows, there's a red line of 4. But in this case, it's hovering immediately over a yellow line of 4. So for red to win, yellow would already have to have won. We say that the red line of 4 is undercut. Let's play it out. Sure enough, we win on the precise line that we predicted. This is what makes these boards special. If there are red winning lines on odd rows, they are all undercut by yellow winning chains on even rows. Let's try some examples. It's yellow's turn. How can we force a win using Claimeven? Pause now if you want to think about it. By placing this disc in the center column, yellow can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. This move makes all of the columns even, and guarantees that red can't make a line of 4 until after yellow gets a line of 4 on the 4th row. Let's try this trickier example. We may naively play this spot which yields even amounts of empty space in each column, but red has other plans in mind. Let's see what happens if we try to play Claimeven. Red claims this spot on the 7th column. See how that makes this threat on an odd row? Pay attention to that threat. Oblivious, yellow continues playing Claimeven. Let's see what happens. Well, that didn't work. So then, what was yellow supposed to do? Pause now if you want to think about it. The trick is blocking that 3rd row threat before it comes to fruition. Now, most columns have an even amount of empty space, but 2 columns don't. Is there any hope of using Claimeven? It turns out, here, the trick is as follows. If red plays in one of these spots, then yellow plays the other. From there, we can continue with Claimeven. Reducing a complex position to a simple one is difficult. However, an expert player up against a newbie might make it look easy. As expected, capitalizing on these situations on the fly is the hallmark of expertise. Attentive practice can help you see it coming. Before we part, I'll give you a taste of how this can be generalized, with one last puzzle. In this case, and unlike the others, red, aka player 1, is winning, but for now, it's yellow's turn. How can we apply our understanding of Claimeven to this position? For one, we notice that there is precisely 1 column that doesn't have an even amount of spaces left. This means we can't play Claimeven. If yellow goes here, we find that there are 2 even spaces we need to take. So Claimeven doesn't exactly work when you're player 1. Well, what happens if we just naively respond to yellow anyways? We'll follow this pattern here. Red will get the top of each coupled pair of spaces. In other words, red will play Claimeven, except on the center column it will instead be claim odd. But something weird is going on with the middle column. There's an unpaired spot. One other thing we notice is that there is an odd row thread on the center column. Since that is on the top half of one of the coupled spaces, red will get that space. That means that the game will end there, and consequently, we don't need to worry about what happens on the top of the middle column. Alright, let's try it. Claimeven, except claim odd in the middle. Once again, this only works because the position was, in some sense, simple to begin with. Red, through training and expertise, was able to force a position which permits such a simple strategy. Most positions are not like this. Most positions can't be naively solved just using Claimeven and claim odd. But let this serve as a taste, an idea from which we could devise a more expressive positional language, which permits the solution of a much larger class of boards. Understanding these positions is not only crucial for the learner, but also for the Connect 4 researcher. Solving a game requires an immense search of billions of options on behalf of either player. However, these positions from which a player can win via Claimeven prove to be a small island of simplicity in an otherwise chaotic sea of complex situations. These positions will serve as a foothold, an indispensable landmark for further reduction. Stay tuned. This has been 2Swap.